Hi cuties! This is your astrology forecast for the week of August 19th through August 25th. Let me tell you, we got a lot going on. The week starts off strong with 4 transits happening on Monday the 19th. The first one we have is Venus opposite Saturn. This transit could bring some limitations in your finances, your relationships, and might lead to some self-worth issues. Saturn also rules authority figures, so this could bring up issues with authority figures. Circumstances may arise that require you to take your finances and relationships a bit more seriously. You may need to practice boundaries or discipline in order to get to the goals that you want in your relationships or finances or even your self-worth. Later on that day, we have the Sun forming a square to Uranus, which is a conversation of tension. It could bring some unpredictability, which might lead to people acting out or being a bit rebellious. There's some tension between the self and traditional structures and ideologies. You may feel a sudden urge or an intense urge for independence. The bright side is that although you may find yourself in frustrating situations, those situations may cause for a push to find solutions, and with Uranus, those solutions might be quite innovative. Then just a few hours later, we have the full moon in Aquarius. So all of these transits are happening just near the full moon, which really just adds a lot more emotion and energy into all of these transits. This full moon is asking us to let go of taking things personally so that we can have a more objective and detached view on things, which allows us to see things for what they really are. If you are low on money, for example, instead of being like, this is all my fault, why me, why is this happening to me? Instead, you can focus on, okay, I'm low on money. What can I do to help with the situation? Is it that you spend less money, or is it that you make more money? Whatever it is, it's just looking at the situation for what it is instead of blaming yourself or blaming your situation. Just a few hours after the full moon, we have Jupiter square Saturn. This transit only happens once every 10 years or so, but it does happen about 3 times within a 1-year span because of both of the planets and their retrogrades. So this is the first connection that they're going to make. They're going to make another connection in December and another one in June of 2025, and then not again until 2035. Jupiter square Saturn serves as somewhat of a reality check. Jupiter is all about the future and the big picture and being optimistic, while Saturn is all about looking at what we have right here, right now. So it's about aligning your goals with who you are and what you have right now. Yes, of course, we all aspire to be somewhere else, maybe looking forward, and we might need to be a different person in order to get there. However, what are the steps we can take right now with who we are right now to get there? For example, if you're someone who wants to wake up at 6 a.m. to start the day really early, but right now you're getting up at 8 a.m., you're not just going to snap your fingers and start waking up at 6. Instead, you can start to take little steps to get to being the person who wakes up at 6 a.m. And honestly, it doesn't matter what time you wake up. I'm just using that as an example. That's a goal some people have. So you could focus on maybe waking up at 7:45 for a week or 2 weeks, and then the next couple of weeks work at 7:30. So meeting yourself where you're at in order to get to the goal that you want to be at. I feel like a lot of us just kind of dream big and don't think about the baby steps we need to get there. I'm guilty of that too. This transit also gives a moment to let go of the things that we need to thrive. So it's a push-pull between, do we need to have a bit more discipline, or do we need to have a bit more freedom and let things flow a little bit more? It also gives us a moment to look at our expectations and, first of all, are they realistic? Second of all, Do they align with who we are right now? Do they come from something outside of ourselves, like societal pressures, family pressures, expectations that we just think this is what a good business owner does? So it's a moment to really confront those expectations and ask yourself where they came from. After a jam-packed Monday, the next transit happens on Thursday, August 22nd. And that is the sun moving into the sign of Virgo. I love this energy happening after kind of a chaotic Monday because Virgo is an earth sign, so it grounds us a little bit. It gives us a focus towards organization, efficiency, getting a bit more analytical and understanding what's going on, the root of the problem, and being of service to others. It's a really good time to focus on your day-to-day routines, which, generally includes your health and wellness routines, your work routines, your house routines, anything you do regularly to take care of yourself and get more intentional about those things. Your problem-solving abilities are also heightened. On that same day, however, we have another square, and it's Venus square Mars. This is definitely not a lovely transit. You could expect tension in your relationships, in your finances, and your self-worth because of differing desires and different approaches to things, whether it's from two different people or you wanting to have multiple approaches to something that just don't mesh together. Unfortunately, this is a transit that can produce violence, especially in relationships. So if you can, please try to put yourself in really safe situations. If something feels a little sketchy, avoid it, especially on and around this day. Mars does rule sex, so because it's a conversation of tension, our drive for sex and intimacy may be heightened. However, with all this other stuff happening, I don't know, I would just be very cautious with yourself and your body on this day. Lastly, be mindful of passive aggression. There's a lot of that behavior that can come with this transit. Moving to Friday, August 23rd, a bit more of a supportive day in terms of transits. We start the day off with Mercury trine to Chiron. This transit is a supportive transit that offers healing through communication. So we have a bit more empathy and understanding for ourselves and others. Writing and journaling can be really therapeutic around this time. I do want to remind that Mercury is still retrograde, so it might be about coming back to something. Especially with Chiron, it's always kind of returning to certain wounds. So definitely a coming back to something and potentially working through it through supportive conversations, healing conversations, and writing and communicating about them. Then later on that day, we have Mercury sextile to Mars. Again, Mercury is still retrograde, so it might be this theme of coming back to something. But again, another supportive transit that might give a little mental clarity and give you a little boost to figure things out and get things done. Our thinking is pretty quick and we have more direct communication. This can help with, those healing conversations and kind of get to the root of the problem a bit more. It really makes for constructive conversations. The last transit that we have is on Saturday, and that's Mars sextile to Chiron. This really ties in with the last two transits that we were talking about. Mars gives that energy boost in order to take action towards those things that we need to heal. So maybe we had some really good conversations and now we need to follow through with doing something or asserting ourselves in a way to continue closing the wounds. So that's it for this week. The beginning is a little tense, the middle of the week as well, but we do end with some supportive transits that can help us take action towards the things that may have gotten disrupted earlier in the week. I hope you have the week that you need to have, and I'll see you next week.